Intelligence gathering, identifying potential terrorist targets. It sounds like part of the plot for 24, which you watched earlier, is something that happens only in larger cities.
But no, it's happening right here. There's an agency flying under the radar, funded by the Federal Homeland Security and local dollars, whose mission it is to gain top secret analysis.
And it kicked into high gear just yesterday. Hagit Limor got a look inside as Fox 19 investigates.
Well, we watched as this agency you likely did not know exists carried out its secret security operation during the Flying Pig Marathon, just one of dozens of missions it coordinates every year using the situation room it shares with local law enforcement on a hilltop just outside downtown. Just pulling up to the building that houses this agency with an unlikely name.
Yes, I'm here to see Mike with the Fusion Center, please.
Means going through several layers of security. From the outside, it looks like any office building.
Chris, is that the channel that has the race on it?
But inside, you're watching agents enact a secret plan.
Enter anything that you do with
a security plan to make sure 35,000 runners and thousands more onlookers stay safe.
Might take them a second to get down to the...
The workers share this operations center, but represent different agencies. What happens here today will depend on months of planning up these stairs, behind this locked door, in an agency that fuses local, state, and federal counterterrorism funds, the Greater Cincinnati Fusion Center.
This is the hub of our center here. This is where our analysts work.
Mark Hartzler is the center's director.
So this officer is in charge of looking at domestic terrorism?
Yes.
Potentially,
yes.
It's all behind the scenes. The idea is the public never knows we're here.
Former Cincinnati Police Chief Michael Snowden was the center's first director, helping launch the agency in 2005, leveraging federal Homeland Security grants after 9/11.
And the goal was to identify what critical infrastructures we had, facilities, as well as events.
When you say that, you mean infrastructures terrorists might target?
Yes.
So agents behind these cubicles not only gather intelligence about potential crimes and acts of terrorism, they also do threat assessments on every major event likely to draw large crowds. They were there on opening day. They planned security for Oktoberfest. And they'll coordinate the risks at Riverfest. So if you've been to any large event or festival in this 3-state region, you've run across the work of the Fusion Center.
We have critical infrastructure throughout this entire region that affects everyone.
Beyond events, the Fusion Center works with the TSA, FBI, and other agencies to identify and plan for permanent potential targets, like the area's airports, rail yard, chemical plants.
That's a theoretical sulfuric acid release.
These men are doing a threat assessment for a plant in Norwood.
With the winds coming from the southwest, the plume would oscillate this way.
So, how many churches, how many hospitals?
Then there are the less obvious targets, like the international corporate headquarters that make this region their home.
The incursion onto Procter & Gamble's property recently by Greenpeace activists.
Yes, we were involved.
9 Greenpeace protesters penetrated security at Procter & Gamble's corporate towers downtown in March, hanging banners decrying the company's use of palm oil the group blames for rainforest destruction. Why didn't the Fusion Center gather intelligence to intercept those plans in advance?
The difference with Greenpeace, for example, is they're exercising their constitutional rights. They committed a crime while doing that, but they're not considered domestic terrorists.
Hartzler says the group may be controversial, but it's not on a watch list that would allow such surveillance. But he says the protesters did expose a threat.
They actually pointed out some security vulnerabilities that can be fixed now.
A security lesson the center now passes along to the 77 other Fusion centers across the country. It's a network that's come under criticism by Congress and a report by the Brennan Center for Justice at New York University. It found inconsistent information sharing, gathering useless information, which now travels widely on federal networks, and poor oversight of the system that may jeopardize civil liberties.
We live in a free nation, and so we are protected by civil rights, but on the other hand, we also have to use this system. We face an adaptive enemy, and we have to counter that.
Cincinnati is considered a Tier 2 threat. Tier 1 includes New York City, Chicago, but of the top 50 cities in the United States ranked for threat vulnerability, this area comes in 31st. Now, there were areas of the Fusion Center where we weren't allowed. There's a secure room that the Department of Homeland Security built to hold classified meetings so that the Fusion Center can hold briefings with the CIA or the NSA. And all of this comes after 9/11.
So the big question is here, this looks like a big operation protecting a lot of different people. So
Sure.
it has to cost a lot of money. So where's the money coming from?
Well, the initial startup money, $71 million worth, came from Homeland Security grants, Tricia. But now, these days, most of the money to run the place comes from local and state funding.
That's a great story. And a lot of people didn't even know it was out there.
Right, we've lived here all these years and I'd never heard of it either, so it's good to know that it's there.
It's good to see the former chief again also.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, good deal. Thanks.
Sure.